He's like what my expectation was for Dream's face reveal. Alright, welcome back ladies and ladies with dick. I'm sure many of you remember Dylan Zippe, the man that looks like a cross mixture of John Pork and Captain Quark, which was one of the many TikTok predators that I covered here on the channel. But since it's been quite some time for me now that I'm actually consistent, are you guys proud of me? Apparently the fuck not, because only 35% of you are actually subscribed. That's right, I'm turning into one of them now. A lot of people lurking around here. If you're gonna stalk me, at least do it right by subbing and hitting that bell so you can always know when I brought back another semen demon that I found in the bottom depths of hell. So Zippe is a TikToker that amassed over 400,000 followers for his daunting looks and irresistible charm he adds with it. His content consisted of what I can boil it all down to thirst trapping, giving out these Wattpad fan fiction scenarios on conversations with women, despite never actually communicating with one outside of a middle school. And as we've seen before, the people that upload this sort of content, especially on TikTok, turn out to be some foul-ass freaks, and Zippe is one of the many that I covered recently. He was exposed for sending dick flicks and horrifying messages with sexual undertones to a girl he believed was no more than 14 years old, all the while he was 18. Where I left off was his monstrosity of an apology video where he introduces his entire sermon by thanking his fans for 40,000 followers before proceeding to explain how he sexually groomed all of them, which is very thoughtful of Captain Blackshark to light this spark of positivity to start things off by welcoming aboard his next victim.
Thank you guys again for 40k followers. It means a lot.
Shut your bitch ass! He then proceeds to clap his hands together like he's rehearsing his syllables in elementary because he's that stupid to even formulate a sentence. Then where he finally stops gasping for air, he explains that he never even knew the girl was 14, and bargain the matter of saying that this was all just a simple misunderstanding because he never had any sexual intentions with her at all and only wanted to sing to her.
Up into the moon.
How adorable. It's like seeing Hunchback out of 300 chant some satanic scroll. Amazing that you really expected any of us to believe that she was trying to hear your little Christmas carol. Your voice sounds like a loud little yodeler with bronchitis singing on top of a trash heap. I bet if you ever performed at a concert, you would somehow make the crowd go fucking mild. This sounds like somebody's drunk uncle going through a divorce at a karaoke night. It is bewildering to think that anybody on this dear green grass wants to hear this pile of dumpster ass. So of course there wasn't a soul out there that bought his apology with the evidence that was provided in his snaps, and with his comments getting flooded with them reminding him of the dark stormy day, spamming the number 14, almost making it seem like the comment section is casting a curse on this motherfucker. And rightfully so, because he justified nothing that was brought against him, and that was practically where all this dust settled with this shitstorm of a situation. Until barely a week after my initial video, Zippe got publicly exposed again, almost like he's trying to speedrun his way to prison by falling for this time a 14-year-old decoy. And with a simple search on Google, he would be almost 20 at the time of these messages taking place. And the most impressive part about all of this is the fact that he somehow made himself look even worse than the first time. I think it's important to lay this story out from start to finish so we can almost do a case study on this incest celestial and try to understand how one can fall into a hole and then resort to digging deeper as their only solution. Now, if we look at the bio on the account, it shows that she graduates from her high school in the class of 2027. And Zippe is somebody that already graduated high school, or should have by now. Maybe he's pulling a Billy Madison where he's 25 in second grade because he's that fucking slow. Truly a mystery that can't be solved with these people, but right there is all you need for any normal sane person to stop dead in their tracks from talking to this girl if he had any intentions with her. But intentions was the last thing on Zippe's mind. He was about that action. Fuck all about intentions. He was puffing out his turkey breasts off his chest and saying what he really means this time. It all spawned on Instagram where the decoy would throw out a simple compliment towards him. I couldn't find what compliment it was, nor could even imagine what compliment you could even throw. I bet every good morning snap this motherfucker sends, it looks like MODOK is sending you his early blessing. But Zippe would respond with a short little thank you, nothing harmful yet until you see the message right under where he immediately dropped the act and let her know that he was single. Something that you shouldn't randomly say to a little girl that didn't even ask if you were in the first place. And he would furthermore add more salt to the wound by asking for her snap. So this is where the messages conclude on Instagram. Nothing to accuse him of yet, but we already know what direction this entire thing is going. And it's still just a very suspicious sentence to have with the girl that just started having her period. Really disgusting no matter what aspect you look at it, but Snapchat is where almost everything in his apology video would be a honky hunk of bullshit. And having screenshots surface that go against almost everything that he was coughing up phlegm over. Next conversation they have, Zippe, from what I could presume, talks about the girl's age, because right after a snap of him singing In a Child's Hand by R. Kelly, the decoy would happily confirm again that she was 14, and then continue to ask why he would care, indicating that Zippe has full knowledge of how old she is, throwing his little defense of being blissfully unaware of her age out the damn window and crashing down 4 stories below. Here we have another familiar question I'm sure many of you remember, of Zippe asking to take another peek at her cheeks when the decoy questions him on what he wants to see, he hits her with, "Your butt, LMAO. Sorry, I'm a dummy." Indeed you are. Just even basically existing on the internet still is a tall tale sign that intelligence is the one thing that you lack. Because you are dumb enough to risk your whole entire career off of something you know is inexcusable, and then you just spin around the block next week and do the exact same shit again. It's remarkable. The next snap that Zippe sent was him showing off his chunky ass tree trunk of a thigh and detailing his bed, saying that he's a spot right next to him for the girl. I'm sure the decoy found very flattering to know that she would have a good 3 centimeters of space to sleep on with him. Actually, what the fuck kind of position was he even laying in to catch his knee in that picture? He had to be laying there like a little cricket rubbing his legs together talking about got a spot for you. Zippe again shows us how he's an ass man by asking the girl to see it once more. My butt isn't even that big, and also I'm in my underwear now because it's hot in my room. And him being the socially inept weirdo that we all know and don't love him for, responds back with his pinky up exclaiming, "Oh wow, may I? If not, it's alright." How thoughtful to ask for consent from somebody that is incapable of giving it. It really goes to show how much of a gentleman you are and why you should never be allowed within 50 meters of a school zone. And if you know the pacing of a BriZ video, you know it only gets worse from here. We have a little short story that Zip took us on by asking the 14-year-old if she wants to make him come. I'm sure her breathing at him would be enough to do the job, but apparently just the thought of her was already plenty, because the snap right after was Zippy talking like a fucking caveman saying, "Oh, LOL, I just come." I've said this so many times, but all these people just act more like children than the actual kids that they are trying to sexually groom, because every snap and line of wordings this guy verbally queefs out of his mouth sounds like a caveman. But I honestly don't know how I expected somebody that looks like Sloth from the Goonies to not talk like a no-nipple Neanderthal, so that's my own fault. Here we have another alleged girl, this time showing an Instagram chatting telling a girl to spread her lips between her hips wide open. That same girl was also 14, by the way. I'm convinced adults scared this guy, but he even went to the point of asking to hang out with the child by saying, "Want to hang out? What do you want to do? Huddle. I'm down, but it will have to be later tonight." Alright, bet. I think this shit is finally taking a toll on me, everybody. My brain is melting from seeing this back-asswards logic over and over again being used almost on a weekly basis. I almost have to brace for impact with everybody that I make a video on, because it seems like they just find a way to make themselves be even worse of a person than they were before. Here's him asking a kid if she would smash or pass him after a long hard game of duck duck goose. Even saying passing is a sign of disrespect in my eyes, because personally I don't think you even had a woman go past you without turning in the opposite direction and running away. This is a picture from a story that showed him wandering around in a high school football field by himself late at night without any other soul around in sight. So it's awesome to see how he's holding up today. I mean, this is like a Zodiac killer leaving clues. It's only a matter of time until disaster strikes, and this post is an omen for it. Like, what would you possibly need to do at a high school football field by yourself late at night off season besides a potential kidnapping? One thing I never realized in my last video was that Zippe would disable almost all of his social medias every time he gets caught, and that's what he did again after this whole scenario with the decoy, because he just constantly runs away from his problems instead of addressing them, acting like a pussy despite acting like he's destroying it all the time. And it's a really pathetic story all across the board. At the time that I'm recording this, again, his TikTok and Instagram is still up, and he has still had taken no accountability for this whatsoever. I was only aware of one incident ever occurring before this, but now it seems like more and more allegations are coming forward, connecting all the dots to prove that this man is a monster and a danger to the people that watch him and should be removed from the platform. Before he can cause any more harm, he's not going to learn his lesson, because these guys never do until they get their asses beat by an angry father or serve a long, hefty jail sentence. And those are two vital things that Zippe is missing right now, so he's already shown that he will continue to do this. It's just a matter of time until he faces some serious repercussions for it. Kind of another short, informative video. I really enjoy making these ones over my long-ass CNN documentaries that I was dropping the year prior. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to slap a like on this bitch before your dad slaps you. Subscribe to hit my vibe and follow all my socials, especially my Instagram. Getting really close to 6K, so I would greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, I'll catch y'all next week, and I'm gonna head out this bitch.
I ain't desperate, got a death wish, Already wake up every morning, got a Zanny and her lettuce for breakfast. Now I gotta flex this, I don't need no hope, but I love it when they jealous. I ain't desperate, got a death wish, Already wake up every morning, got a Zanny and her lettuce for breakfast. Now I